Today, we're going to show you how to remove the background from any graphic, text, or illustration in Photoshop. Not only that, but we're going to show you how to replace it with any color background, including a transparent background. We're going to show you how to add different color outlines and how to create circles or shapes behind your subject for icons for social media. And at the end, we're going to show you how to save everything properly for the web to maintain transparency. We got a great tutorial for you. Let's jump into Photoshop. So here we are in Photoshop. We've got this image. I love this. This is a free illustration I got from Adobe stock, and you can actually get it. Just follow the link right down below. You'll be able to access this PSD and a link to where you can download this image for free. So we've got a lot of different graphics here. Now we're gonna just focus on this one for now because it's basically the same exact process for all of them. So the first thing I would need to do is get rid of this black background here. And no matter what color background you're dealing with, usually if it's a graphic, illustration, or text, usually it's going to be a solid color background that you're going to need to remove, whether it's white or black or any other color. So we're going to start this off. I've got my background here selected. We're going to go up to where it says select right up at the very top. I'm going to select and then down here to where it says color range. Okay, that makes sense, right? We're going to select the black color range. Now, let me just go ahead. We're going to go through this select color range here because it actually has a lot of great features. So I'm going to take my selection preview right at the bottom. We're just going to take it to none. Okay, this is just going to be your default. Now here you can actually see what gets selected. So the dark areas here are going to be not selected and the light areas are going to be selected. So I also have a little eyedropper. You can see I've got a couple eyedropper tools, my regular eyedropper, my plus, and then my minus. So if I click over here with my regular eyedropper tool, first of all, no matter where I click, you're going to see a couple of things are changing here in this little preview, but nothing changes on my image itself. And I want something to change. I want to see what I'm doing a little bit better than this little preview here. So we have a few different options. Right down here, all right, we're going to just set everything to how it would be by default. Right down here, your selection preview, we have a few options. I can change this, let's just bring this up here so we can see it. All right, selection preview, I can change this to grayscale, black, white, or quick mask. Let's go to grayscale. There we go. And now you can see if I've got my eyedropper selected, if I click on my background, that becomes white, meaning it's selected. And anything that is not white is not selected. If I click on this color, you're gonna see it's only gonna select that color. If I click on that color, you're gonna see it only selects that color. So if you need to make certain selections out of different colors in your image, you can do this as well. Same exact tool. In this case, we want to select out the background, right? So I'm going to click on the background. Now, I have this little fuzziness slider, and this is kind of the main key to using this tool. As I bring this to the left, there we go, it's going to select less and less and less, okay? Let's just bring it all the way to the left, and you're going to see we kind of just have something that's not really that well selected. The more I bring it to the right, the better it gets selected, okay? Now, if you want to see a few different previews, let's just bring our fuzziness right down here and you can see we've got like some artifacts and things like that going on. All this time we've been using the selection preview as grayscale. Okay, let's go ahead and click there. I'm going to go to black matte. Okay, and now if I click on the background, this is what I see. If I were to click on a color here, I would see the color on a black matte background. Okay, so any color you click on, you're going to see what's selected and then on a black matte background. That way, if you were wanting to transfer it to black, you get a nice preview. Let's go down here to where it says white matte. Okay, and now if I click on any color here, there we go, let's just select the background. I can see like what it would look like in this case. I selected this and everything that's not get selected would be white matte. Okay, and then you have this option for quick mask, which anything that doesn't get selected gets this red color to it. Okay, now you also have this option for invert. So we're going to use that. So basically my goal right now is I want to see what this looks like on a white background. So that way I can change it to anything because it's black to start with. So I know if it looks good on a white background, I can get it to look good on any color because it's the exact opposite color as the original. So let's go right here. We're going to go to where it says white matte. Okay, and I'm going to click over here on the background itself. Now, right now, what we've got is basically I clicked on the black color, making that a selection so I see it, okay? And then anything that's not that color right now is white, is being selected. Now, this doesn't help me that much. I actually want to see the opposite of this. Okay, so if you're in your select color range and you ever want to see the opposite, just click on this invert button right over here. So invert, let's click on that. There we go. And now this is actually super useful, right? So I can click on the black color. I can click on any other color, right? Basically, any color that I click on is going to turn white, okay? And all the other colors are going to remain the same because I have this invert option clicked, right? So not invert, invert, okay? So if you ever want to see the invert of what you're looking at, that's how you do it. So let's click on the background here. Okay, so we're selecting the background. It's a white matte, so it's turning whatever you're selecting white, okay? And now I can see the background is selected, it's white, but I can see all this little fuzziness and stuff like that around my selection. Not so good, right? So I need to take this fuzziness slider here and just bring this up to the right. So I'm gonna just drag this to the right, and as you see that I'm doing this, boom, we got a much better selection here, okay? Now, all of these tools here, okay, what I'm changing here with the preview, grayscale, black, white, quick mask, all that stuff, invert, not invert, that's not changing the selection. That's just changing how we're seeing it. Okay, I know it's a lot, but I want to do this very thoroughly so you have like an expert guide on how to do this like the best way possible. Okay, so let's go ahead and click on this background color. Right now you can see it's still selecting like some of the black that's in there. So I'm just going to bring my fuzziness up a little bit more until we don't really see that stuff so much. Let's bring our fuzziness up just a little bit more. All right, now I'm not expecting to get this perfect. You can see there's still a little bit of a black outline there. That's just kind of come with the territory of doing this, but we're going to show you how to remove that, so don't worry about that. This is looking pretty good. So basically I've got this selected here, and you can see my little preview here what is in fact selected. Keep in mind that I do have invert checked. Okay, so all of that is just to select the color black. Let's hit OK. All right, that looks pretty good. So the color black is selected. Can you do that incredibly quickly? Yes, of course you can. You can hit Control or Command D, you can go to select, you can go down here to color range, and then you could just click on black and hit OK. You can do all that too. I just want to show you how to refine it and make it really good. Okay, so now that that is selected, keep in mind that it's selected there here on that part of the image, but it's selecting the black on all of my image, right? The whole thing. Okay, so we have that as a selection. Now what we want to do is load that as a layer mask because it's going to take that active selection and hide it. Okay, so my layer mask is right here. Go to your layer panel, and then layer mask right down here on the very bottom right looks like a little square with a circle in it. So let's go ahead and click on that. Boom, and you can see, yep, it's hidden now. So that's our first step in removing the background. Remember, the goal here is we want to remove this background, then we're going to show you how to add other cool backgrounds and do all kinds of fun stuff. Okay, that's step one. So non-destructive, by the way, okay, you can see we have our layer and our layer mask. Both of them are still available for us. I can hold Shift and click on my layer mask to disable it if I want to see the background once more. Okay, now I can see like little black edges and things like that around my image. And this is something you're going to run into. This is like the primary like difficulty you're going to run into, but I'm going to show you how to fix it. What I want to do before that is make a white background, okay? I don't want to make it like permanently attached to the layer. We're going to create a new layer and make it white. And to do this, we're going to use a solid color fill layer. I can change the color at any time, no big deal. Okay, so we're going to go up here to our layer menu. Okay, we're going to go down to new fill layer and over here to solid color. Boom. Let's hit OK. And then you're just going to choose your color here. I'm going to go all the way up to white and hit OK. You can see here my layer stack, it's above my image. I just want to click here and drag it down. There we go. So it's in the background now. Okay, super simple, nothing, solid color white fill, and then our image. Looking pretty good. Okay, and you can see, yes, the black is cut out on all of this image. Okay, so boom, did all of it at one time. Let's zoom way in, and we can see we got a couple issues, okay? So first you can see you've got all these little tiny little artifacts and changes of color and things like that, okay? That's because I'm working with a JPEG that wasn't like incredibly high resolution, okay? Which is kind of common. That's gonna happen all the time. Like we don't always get the best assets to work with, right? But we wanna remove all this stuff. You can see all these little artifacts. And then also you can see this black edge right around here, like the pink with the black edge, the tan with the black edge, the red with the black. We don't want any of that black edge, right? That's reminiscent of the original black background. So we need to get rid of that. Okay, so how do we do it? Well, the first thing we want to do is we want to get rid of this. And I also want to smooth it because you can see it looks super, super choppy. Look at that edge. It's really choppy. It's not that aesthetically pleasing, right? So we're going to go ahead and refine this layer mask just a little bit. So let's go ahead and click right here. We've got our layer. Okay, you can see if I click on my layer, I've got the little white outline of the layer. And if I click on the mask, now I've got this little white outline on the mask. So layer or mask, layer or mask. You want to make sure you're selected on the mask itself. Okay, so I've got my mask selected. Now what we're going to go do is go up here. You can just click on select and mask. There's going to be a button if you're still on any of your selection tools, or you can just go to select and then down here to boom, select a mask. Okay, now this is going to open up an entirely new dialog box. Let me just reset this all the way back to its original settings. I'm going to bring that down to 0. We're going to bring that all the way to 0. This is going to be, all right, we're going to bring this all the way to 0. Just reset everything. So it's basically the exact same as how it was before. And we're going to talk you through this one too. Okay, because obviously, let's just go to default here. There we go. This is exactly how it is when it loads in. I just set my preset back to default. Okay, so now what we want to do is refine this edge and get rid of this little black like dots. And I want to make it a little bit smoother too and get rid of these like little choppy areas. Okay, so here within my select and mask dialog, there's a couple tools that you can use. One, all right, let's go ahead and close all this down so your view looks just like mine. Okay, and right here, by the way, your view settings, just like we had with our select color range, you can change your views to different views to serve you. I'm just going to use this on layers view because it's going to give me a real-time preview of what I see. There we go. It's going to look great. Okay, now, first thing that you can do, this is like the easiest step here, is go to where it says refine mode. We're going to open that up. Okay, color aware and object aware. If you guys are using like people or like something that you can use object detection, then you can use object aware. If it's just color, you want to make sure you have color. Okay, let's go ahead and close that down. Now, edge detection. This is like a very easy first step that you can use. All you need to do is bring your radius up just a little bit. Let's go ahead and bring that up just a little bit. Okay, and you're going to see it's going to start helping out with my problem. It's not perfect, but it definitely helps. Let's just bring that up just a little bit and you can see, yeah, it does help my problem. Smart radius, you can turn this off and on. Usually it doesn't do that much in my experience. Now, we're going to scroll down just a little bit. Don't forget, you can scroll here. There's a lot going on. We're going to go into our global refinements. And here's where like a lot of power exists. Now, you can just skip this top one, smoothing, because if you only use smoothing by itself, it doesn't really do that much. Okay, so go ahead and skip that top one. We're actually going to use a combination of feather, contrast, and shift edge. Okay. So if I bring my feather up, it softens or feathers the edge. And you're going to say, well, that doesn't look good. Why would you want that? Well, you don't really want that. You want to bring up a little bit of feathering, and then you want to bring your contrast up to make your edge a little bit harder there, okay? So you're kind of going to play between feather and contrast, okay? If you just do feathering, you're going to wind up with an edge that's too soft. You have to add contrast to it too, okay? But if you do too much feathering, you're going to wind up with something like this, okay? So it's like a balance between feather and contrast. So try a little bit of feathering. Boop, just try a little bit. Okay, that softens the edge. And then add back some contrast and that kind of firms it up a little bit, okay? There we go. You're just going to kind of play in between these two until you get results that you like, okay? There we go. We'll just bring the contrast up a little bit more. Don't forget, you can always just turn your preview off and on. Okay, you can just turn this button off and on. You can hit show original, turn that off. Okay, show original, boop, and turn that off. So you can see it's already better. Okay, and then here at the bottom here, you have this shift edge, and you can shift it if you need to in or out a little bit. Okay, so in this case, we can shift it out. That's going to include a little bit of the black. Shift it back in, it's not. Okay, let's talk about pros and cons of this technique, because there are pros and cons, okay? Let's go ahead all the way up here to where it says show, let's close these down, show original, boom. And you can see, okay, this edge here of this pink, see how it's a nice sharp edge, right? If I go ahead and turn this off, you can see, because I've added some feathering and some smoothing, it's kind of rounding that edges out. So if you have like really sharp corners, it's gonna round those out just a little bit. That's kind of like the con. So you don't wanna go too far, because if I go too far, you can see it really rounds those out, okay? So that's what you kind of wanna keep your eye on, okay? There we go. Now, all this time what I'm looking at my edge, and my edge is looking pretty good. Okay, I can shift my edge in. I can do this, but you're gonna see I'm gonna lose a lot of my shape, right? Or I can shift my edge out a little bit. I could do both of these, okay? You kind of wanna play the game of like shifting your edge in or shifting your edge out a little bit. Now, in this case, I think this actually looks pretty good. I know that I've got a little bit of black around the edge, but the quality of my edge looks really good. Okay, and this black I can take care of. We're going to show you how to do that. This is a fundamental part of this tutorial is how to remove all this black, because I'm going to give you like perfect, professional, the best results you can imagine. Okay, that's why it's a long tutorial, because a lot involved. Okay, but let's go right back up. So I'm actually super happy with this. I know I can see the black here around the edge, but everything else looks super, super good. So let's go back up where it says show original. You can hit P for the preview. So that's the before and that's the after, okay? I'm pretty happy with this. The before, you can see all these little dots and artifacts and grains and all this blah, blah, blah stuff. Doesn't look good. Here's the after. Look how much better that looks. Our edges look so much nicer, so much more well-refined. We're looking really good. So the before and the after. Okay, you want to pay attention to the quality of the edges. Look how like jaggedy and sharp looking these are. And here, when I turn that off, boom, smooth, nice, beautiful, looking great. We're happy. Okay, so that actually looks good. And again, don't worry if you can see a little bit of the original background color. That's totally okay. So now we're gonna scroll down here. I'm gonna close this global refinements and we're gonna go to our output settings here. And we're just gonna choose output to layer mask, okay? Because remember, I have a layer with a layer mask on it. If I go output to layer mask, it's just gonna update the existing layer mask that I have. If you're not sure if you wanna keep these changes, you could do a new layer with a layer mask as well. Okay, but we're just gonna choose layer mask. So let's go ahead and layer mask, looks great. And we're gonna hit okay. And then because I had my preview mode set to show the image, it looks the exact same. So like boom, right? Let's just hit Control-Command Z for undo. So this is what we got straight out of select color range, okay? And then I'm gonna redo. So undo and redo, undo and redo. Much, much better, right? We can see our edges look really good. Okay, and they're gonna look like that good across the entire image because we're using these really powerful tools that work image wide, right? For every single illustration here. Okay, now comes the fun part. We're taking a look at edges look great, but we have this black edge around it, right? Which we don't want. We want the pure color. Okay, now there are a few ways you can handle this, and I'm gonna show you all of the ways that you can handle this because I think you're ready for it and it's worth knowing them. Okay, first thing you can do, we're gonna create a new layer right above this. Okay, so we've got our background layers white. Look at this, we can turn this off and on at any time. Turn it off, you got a transparent background, okay? Okay, we've got our image here, and then we've just got a new layer. Okay, now with this new layer, I'm gonna hit B for the brush tool. We're gonna right click, and I'm gonna make sure my hardness is set to 100, okay? And then size can be whatever, 30 pixels looks good, okay? Now, with this new layer setup, what we're gonna do, B for the brush tool, is I'm gonna hold Alt or Option, okay? Which turns my little cursor into a eyedropper. Forgot the word. Eyedropper. So let's go ahead and click there on this color. You can see whatever color you click on, that color is going to be selected here in your foreground color. So I'm going to just click on this color here. Okay, now let's go ahead and zoom in. Okay, so I have, again, I'm on a new layer. I'm not even going to touch this original layer. I'm on a new layer, and I'm just going to paint with this color. Okay, I'm going to paint with this color. There we go. Boom. You can see I painted with that color, kind of covered up some things, right? Now, this layer on its own just looks like that, okay? I want this layer to only show up where my layer 0 is visible, right? like if I use my move tool, I can move it around and stuff like that, right? I only want this to show up where this layer is visible. And to do that, we're gonna use what's called a clipping mask. Now, a clipping mask basically makes the layer on the top visible where the layer on the bottom is visible. So super easy, just right click on your layer, okay, and go all the way down to where it says create clipping mask. Boom. Okay, create clipping mask. So now that I have this clipping mask, like this is just a regular layer. And as I move it around, you're gonna see, yep, it's only visible now exactly where the layer underneath it is visible. Okay, let's go ahead and zoom out. You can see if I move it over here, it's only gonna be visible where the layer is, okay? Option Command G or Alt Control G is gonna be your keyboard shortcut for a clipping mask, by the way. So this is not clipped, regular layer, boom, clipped. Okay, clipping mask. Now, you can see in this little example area right here, what does it do? Well, it covers up that black outline, right? My edge looks good, okay? That's why I was just concerned about great edge last step. Now, I just need to get rid of the black. Okay, and check this out. It's on a new layer. So what do we got? Non-destructive editing, right? It's not actually affecting my image at all. It's on a new layer that's clipped, okay? That's a fantastic way to do it. All right, I'm gonna show you one other way to do it, which is not my preferred way, but I wanna show you the different ways. Okay, let's go ahead and just delete this. Click and drag it to the trash. The other way that you can do this is we have our layer, okay? You can click right here on this lock transparent pixels, okay? There we go. And now I can literally just paint with this color right here. There we go. And even because I have a layer mask active, you don't even need to do that. You can actually just paint with this color right here if you want to, okay? So you can paint directly on the layer. I don't recommend doing that. Let's hit undo a couple times because we're altering the original image. Like if I did this, okay, boom, and then I redid the layer mask, now I got this, okay? I don't recommend this because what if you got to get back to your original, I just painted all over it. So I don't recommend doing that, but you know, I want to show you a few different ways. The clipping mask method is better. Okay, so new layer, okay? And then we're going to create a clipping mask. So again, just B for your brush tool, grab this color, paint over here, and just do a super rough job. Boom, 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 painting over here, la, 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 this is so fun. Okay, and then we're gonna right click and go to where it says create clipping mask. Boom. And you can see everywhere I painted, we've removed the black background. Okay, we've removed that black border, but I can turn this off and on. Okay, now you might be thinking to yourself, that sounds great. It sounds like it's gonna take a lot of time. I gotta stay in line. What happens if I paint over the eyebrow? La, 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 la. I'm glad you asked because it is a waste of time to do this, but this is the concept that we're going to use. But to speed things up, we're going to use selections. Okay, so let's go ahead and throw that into the trash can. Selections, you might ask. What are selections? Well, we use one for select color range for the background, but now what I want to do is I want to select, let's say I just want to select this red, right, the hair. So what we're going to do is I'm going to hit W for my magic wand tool. Okay, just a very simple magic wand tool. Very, very simple magic wand. My sample size, I've got about 5 by 5 average. And then right here where it says sample all layers, I've got that checked. Okay, super important. You want to make sure it says sample all layers. Okay. So I'm on a new layer and boom, I'm just gonna sample this color, that red, and then look, the same color is over here, so I'm gonna hold shift and then select that, okay? So I've got my selection active of the hair on the top and on the bottom, okay? Now, check this out. You can see, yes, it's selected the hair, sorry, the red. You can see, look at this other color. There's all these other colors in there, but for like a logo or a graphic, you don't want that. I want it to be a solid color, right? And I don't want this black to be included. Okay, so I use my magic wand tool on a new layer to just select the red. Now what we're gonna do is I'm gonna just expand this selection just a little bit, okay? So we're gonna go up here to our select menu, select, and then we're gonna go down to where it says modify, okay? And we're gonna go to expand, okay? And let's just try like 2 pixels here and hit okay. Boom, you can see now I selected the red and expanded it out 2 pixels. Look at that. It's now on the outside of all of that, that black line. I could even do 3 pixels. Let's hit undo. I can go back to select, modify, expand, okay? And we'll just do 3 pixels to make sure it gets everything. But I don't want to do like 10 pixels because then it would be like inside of the other stuff too. Okay, so check that out. So now I've got a selection around all this red area here, okay? Boom, right? Looking good, looking good, looking good. So now we're going to use this same concept because I'm on this new layer, my layer 1, so I can use my brush tool, right? Now, B for the brush tool, and I want to sample this red color, right? So hold Alt or Option when you're in your brush tool, and that's going to bring up your eyedropper, okay? Or you just click here on your eyedropper. Okay, now I'm just going to paint with my red brush, okay? And you're going to see, let's get super close, painting in with the red brush all the way up to the expanded edges. There we go. And then look at this. I'm just going to zoom way out and then right click and make my brush really big and then, you know, even bigger. And then we're just going to get all this. I don't want to just do a fill right now. Actually, I can. I was thinking I don't want to do a fill because it would fill all the reds, but I used my I used my magic wand. So I actually can just do a fill with this color. So if I hit Shift Delete with my fill dialog, I can just go to fill using the foreground color because I already sampled that red as a foreground color and I can hit OK. Now, if you're like, dude, this is a lot, I know it's a lot, but I want to show you the perfect way to do it. And we're going to show you, I'm going to do it with all the colors. So you're going to get it, I promise. Okay, now we filled that. Let's go ahead and hit Control-Command-D. So let's just turn everything off and show you just what's on this layer. So just on this layer, I just have this red, okay, on the hairline, right? Let's go ahead and turn these back on, just the red. But keep in mind, it's grown, right? Because I expanded that 2 pixels. You don't want to go, like if you're working with like a logo and you're trying to reproduce a logo or an icon, you don't want to go changing it, right? That's not my goal. I need it to be the exact same, okay? But I grew this by 2 pixels, or by 3 pixels rather, so it doesn't affect, so it could cover up the black. Okay, but remember earlier we talked about a clipping mask, using clipping masks to make it only visible where the underlying layer is visible. Now all we got to do is clip this. So super cool, right? We're going to right click on this layer. I'm going to go all the way down where it says create clipping mask, and let's just go ahead and click there. Boom, create clipping mask. I know this is a lot, but this is like the best way to do it. Okay, so now turn this off and on. Oh my gosh. Edge looks really great, right? Boom, solid color red. If I zoom in all the way, I have a pure red. I don't have any of these like weird artifacts and all these different colors, and I've perfectly, not semi, okay, perfectly gotten rid of that black border. Perfect, okay, with a solid, perfect color. Look at that. I absolutely love it, okay? It's perfect everywhere you look. It's way better than the original image. See, this original image has all these different colors, ... artifacts, stuff in it. Nope, now it's perfect. That's what our goal is. So what do we do from here? Well, we just keep going, okay? And you can do this on the same layer, or you could even create new layers, or you can even use solid color fill layers. So let's show you how to use a solid color fill layer because that's super cool too. So next thing we want to do, W for our magic wand. I want to magic wand this face color, right? Boom, this color. Just magic wand, W for magic wand, just click there and it's selected, right? Now we want to go to select, modify. Okay, we're going to go to expand, and now we're just going to say 3 pixels again. That looks pretty good. Let's just look all around. Yep, looks pretty good. So now that we have a selection, I'm going to use a solid color fill layer. But before I do, I would just want to select this face color as my foreground color. So I'm going to click on my color and then boop, there we go, select that. So this color now, foreground color, is the same as this. We're going to hit B for your brush tool, then Alt or Option and just click on that. That's a quick way to do it. Okay, so I have this face color selected. This layer 1, remember I just like did a fill. I like hit Shift Delete and fill dialog with a red color. But now I'm going to use a solid color fill layer and I'll show you the advantages of that. Okay. So we have this selected. You can create a solid color fill layer by going to your adjustment layers here and go up to where it says solid color. Super quick way. Or you can go to layer, new fill layer, and over to solid color. So I'm just going to choose solid color. We're going to hit OK. Now, the nice thing is because I already selected this skin color, it's gonna preload that color in. So let's hit OK. So this creates a solid color fill layer, and then I'm gonna right click on this, and then boom, you got it, create clipping mask, just like we did before, okay? So that's a clipping mask now, okay? Same idea as what's underneath it, completely got rid of that, okay? Same idea as this layer 1 in execution, but it's actually even more powerful. The reason why this solid color fill layer is more powerful is, check this out. If I just double click right here on this solid color fill layer, boom, now I can change the color of this to anything that I want. And it's perfect. Like, you know, it's still, the edges are perfect. Everything is perfect. I can make it any color that I want. Boom, this is infinitely editable and it's perfect. So we're basically kind of taking what was a JPEG and giving it like all of this power, right? Now I could make up 10 of these and make an NFT if I wanted, whatever. Let's hit cancel there because I don't need to change it. But that's the benefit of using the solid color fill, okay? So I can convert this red. If I hit, boom, go to this layer, B for the brush tool, Alt or Option, select this color here, Control or Command click to turn that back into a selection, and I'm just gonna go to my adjustment layers, solid color. Boom, hit OK, it's automatically clipped, okay? This is so cool. All right, let's just do the same thing with the eyebrows. Okay, B for the brush tool. Okay, I'm just gonna make a new layer. By the way, if you are working under a clipped layer, anytime I make a new layer, it's gonna automatically clip, okay? So let's just hit undo so you can see that, okay? If I go up here on the very top and I create a new layer, not clipped. Okay, there's a little down arrow you see here. That's where that means it's clipped, right? There we go, let's just delete that. But if I go in here and create a new layer, boom, you can see it's automatically clipped. So sometimes when you're doing work like this, it can be kind of nice to like work under your clipped layers, okay? Boom, let's do it again. So this pink color, let's just grab this pink color, W for our magic wand, we're just gonna select that, okay? So selecting this color, making it the active color, select modify, expand 3 pixels, and then like literally I just have to go to layer, new adjustment layer, new fill layer, and then solid color. And it loads that pink color in and my layer mask in. Boom, okay? Let's do it one more time with these eyebrows here. So I'm just gonna click on this layer and then it's gonna automatically clip whatever layers I make because I already have some clip layers. Okay, so W for the magic wand, B for the brush tool, and then select this, or you can just use your eyedropper if you want to, okay? Select, modify, expand, there we go, 3 pixels, there we go. And then I'm gonna go right over here to my adjustment layer icon, looks like half white, half dark circle, click on that, and then go to where it says solid color, boom, and we have solid color, all right? Magic wand that, look at this. If you want, oh, you know what? That's such an interesting little learning opportunity that we have here, right? Because there's 2 eyebrows, but I only did that for the 1, right? So what do I do in this case? Okay, let's deselect. I need to select this eyebrow too, but not a big deal. I select that eyebrow. Let's see if there's any other browns like that. Any other? No. Okay, that eyebrow too. Now I just go to select, modify, expand, 3 pixels, okay? And then on the layer mask for the eyebrows, I'll just fill that with white. So I can go to edit, down to fill, boom, and then I can just choose white, okay? I'm just filling the layer mask with white, right? So like literally, I can just make just those eyebrows visible if I wanted to, okay? There we go, let's clip all that, turn all that back on. Okay. I did the same thing on accident with these other pink things. So I'm just gonna use my magic wand tool, select them, okay? Select, modify, expand. We're gonna say 3 pixels, yep. And then I'm gonna hit Shift Delete, which is the keyboard shortcut for the fill dialog. Let's work quick. Contents, we're gonna fill that with white on my layer mask, and then Control or Command D to deselect. Pretty good, right? Now, if you're proactive and you don't make a mistake like I just did, you can go back to your magic wand tool, right? And instead of just selecting one eye, you can hold Shift and actually get all 4 of them in the same go. Select, modify, expand, boom, B for the brush tool, let's sample that color, all right, and then create a solid color fill layer, boom. Okay, we just got a couple more of these to do, and I'm doing this the long way, for sure. There's no way around that, but I'm also doing this like the best, most non-destructive, most versatile, most badass way you can possibly think of. All right. B for the brush tool, magic wand that, select, modify, expand, boom, solid color fill layer. Almost done here, okay? You're just gonna be super psyched when you see these final results. Yes, this takes a while, but if a client like hands you a JPEG, right? And they're like, oh my gosh, I need can you cut this out of the background and, you know, put it on all these different color backgrounds or whatever. This is the best way to do it. All right. Fantastic. All right, check this out. Now I can make that background invisible. So what do we have here now? Okay, we have this like perfect, like no edges. Okay, let's just turn all these off, okay? Boom, we're gonna turn all these off. Okay, and that's what we had after the, first we did select color range, we did the black, then we modified that selection. We still saw the edge, no problem, but then boom. And you don't have to do all these with solid color fill layers. You could have just filled all this on one layer. That's totally okay. But with the solid color fill layers, now look at this edge. It's perfect, right? It's perfect. With the solid color fill layers, you can go in, okay? You want to change something, and you can even double click. You call this hair if you want, okay? With 2 ways, why not? My name has 2 ways in it, so does hair today. Okay, so if your client says, let's change that color of the red hair, boom, right here, solid color fill layer, just double click right there. Okay, well, what color hair do you want? You want blue hair? Boom, look at this. Hit okay. Infinitely changeable. You can change it to whatever you want, like, you know, like super quick, super easy, and you're gonna maintain all of you're gonna maintain everything. It's gonna be great. Everyone's gonna love you, I promise. You'll get straight A's on all your tests in the future, and your romances will be successful for the rest of your life. Okay, so this looks great. Like, okay, so if what we wanted to show you was just how to cut out a background, boom, I'm just gonna turn the background off, and look, you've got transparency background, perfect edges, no black, okay? We've done it. We've done it. We did what we promised when we set out, but that's not all. That's not all. We got to show you more awesome, amazing stuff, because there is more awesome, amazing stuff to be shown. Okay, what is the awesome, amazing stuff that we speak of? Well, here it is. What if I want to add an outline to this? Because this person was on a black background to start with, and like if I just shift click on the layer mask, and I gotta turn all these layers off, some of the black background kind of makes sense, right? Around the eyes and the ears and the mouth and that little dot in their face and things like that. Beauty mark, Marilyn Monroe deal, right? Some of that actually makes sense, right? We might want to not have that be white. So maybe we want to add a black outline to things. All I need to do is select my subject. So let's go here, and I can just hold Control or Command, okay, on the actual layer mask, right? Because I already made a nice selection of my subject, right? So if I hold Control or Command and click on the layer mask of this, look, it's going to turn it into a selection, right? Perfect. Keep in mind, if you Control or Command click on a layer mask of a very complicated image like this, it's going to select like the layer mask for your whole image. So just keep that in mind, okay? But I don't need to do anything else. I'm just going to focus on this one for time savings. Even though this is a very long video, we are efficient. Okay, so I want to put an outline on this now, okay? And because we discovered how cool it is to have solid color fill layers, I want to be able to change that outline color at any time. So let's check this out. I just made this a selection, right? Control or Command clicked on that selection. Now let's go to Select, Modify. We're going to go to Expand, because I want to put an outline on there. Let's say 10 pixels. Let's try that, see how it looks. 10 pixels. That looks pretty good. 10 pixels looks like a nice like little outline right there, right? Okay. So now what I want to do is fill this with a solid color fill layer, but I want this to be under my subject, right? Because if I put it over top, it's just going to cover the whole thing, right? So I'm going to put it on under. Keep in mind, if you have a selection active, it's automatically going to load that selection into your layer mask, okay? So I got my selection active. Again, to create a solid color fill layer, you can click on this little guy here, go to solid color, right? Or you can go to layer, new fill layer, and solid color. They both do the same thing. Solid color, let's hit OK. All right, now I can make that back to black, okay? Amy Winehouse, we're all going back to black. You can change it to whatever color you want. Let's just put it black because that's what we want. Now keep in mind, it did that with everything, which like I'm actually not that mad about because it actually like looks pretty good for everyone, right? Like turn this off and back on, right? Okay, cool. Yeah, we're all actually looking really good again. But keep in mind, it did that for everyone. So here's what my layer mask looks like. Alt or Option, click on that layer mask. Okay. If you didn't want that, you could just fill the rest of the layer mask with black. But in this case, I actually think it looks pretty good, right? And check this out. I still have my background as this solid color fill. So if I want, I can just turn that off. And look at this. I've got every single one of my icons now perfectly cut out with that black border. Now, you might be saying, look at these, hey, those actually look really good, and you didn't even have to do that, all the blah, blah, blah stuff with these solid color fills. That's true. The reason why they look good is because I chose black here, and black was the original color. But if I were to change this to like a red, then you're gonna see red with a black outline, then the color, okay? This over here, no black outline, okay? That's why you go through that extra step. All right, so let's just go ahead and change that back to black. And if that looks good, but you don't need this black step. That's an option. Okay. Wow, looking pretty good. Now, okay, your client says, okay, that looks pretty good. I want this to be on a circle. Like I want to put a circle background on them. No problem. We're just going to go to our shape tools here. We're going to choose the ellipse tool. Okay. I'm going to click and drag while I hold shift. Little tip here. You can hold the space bar down and move this around while you're creating it, okay? So click and drag, boom, okay, there we go. That looks pretty good. And then we're gonna go to our fill color here. We're just gonna choose, you could choose red, you could choose, let's just choose black for now, okay? Let's go ahead and close that down and close that down. And then I'm gonna put this under my solid color fill, boom. Okay, fantastic. Now, how do I go about centering this? Well, I could just try to like guess where it's centered, but I don't really want to do that. I'll show you another really cool trick. You know what? I'm going to just hide everyone else for now. So I'm going to duplicate this layer with everyone else on it. Okay, let's go ahead and clip all this stuff back again. You can shift click multiple layers at one time and hit Option Command G to clip them. Okay, so they're all clipped to this. And then on this layer, okay, notice I made a duplicate, right? I made a duplicate of this, okay? Because I want to hide everyone else so I can properly center this, but I don't want to get rid of them for good because I already did a nice job cutting everyone out, right? So this is just why I'm duplicating it. So on this layer mask, I'm going to hit M for my marquee tool. There we go. We can just do a rectangular marquee to select around our subject, okay? Okay, select down to inverse. And then on the layer mask, I'm going to hit Shift Delete, and we're just going to fill that with black. It's just going to fill that whole layer mask with black everywhere else, okay? And then I'm going to do the same thing here. I'm going to duplicate that black outline, okay, Shift Delete, and fill that with black, and then make that invisible too. That way, and you guys can download this PSD, by the way. All right, I'm going to call this archive. If I can spell archive, I'm going to call it archive, okay? So here in my archive, if I need to, I got everyone still cut out with their backgrounds. And I can turn those background colors off and on, and I can change these colors for the backgrounds, okay? Boom, look at that, okay? But I don't need to do that while I'm just working on this subject, so I just want to see her. So check this out. We talked about centering, right? I want my little archive, we're just going to bring all the way to the top for now. Okay, fantastic. So I got this ellipse here, right? I want this ellipse to be perfectly centered around my subject, right? So what do you do when you want to perfectly center like two objects? You can use selections and then your alignment tools. So check this out. Super cool. If I hit M for my marquee tool, I'm just going to make a selection like right over. Let's just do it over here so you can get the idea. Okay, so I just made a selection right there. Okay, now because I have a selection active, my alignment tools are going to work perfectly with that selection. So check this out. I have my ellipse selected. Turn that off and on. Okay. I'm going to go to my move tool right up here, V for the move tool, and then I'm going to get access to my alignment tool. So I can align it left, center, right, top, center, bottom. So let's click on the center, boom, and then center again, boom. You're going to see because I had a selection active, it aligned whatever layer that I have to that selection. Left and bottom, middle, top, right, left, middle, okay? That's super cool, and it's extremely helpful to know because you don't want to like, okay, I guess that's about center, and then you send it off to print and your client has a better eye for symmetry than you do, and they're like, that's not center, dude. Why don't you go back and study Photoshop? I recommend the channel Flern. You don't want to do that, okay? So don't just do it like this. So how do I actually like center it with my subject? Well, I can just turn my subject into a selection. Earlier, I made a selection here and then use your move tools. You can center it upon that selection, right? But you don't have to just use this selection with your move tool, with your marquee tool. You can make a selection from your layer masks, right? So if I hold Control or Command and click on the layer mask here, right? Boom, I've selected my subject. Now I can go to my ellipse and I can center it vertically and horizontally, right? Isn't that amazing? Look, if it was over here, let's just deselect this. I'll just put this way down there, okay? I'm going to put it so you can't even see it. Well, I'll put it like way down there. Control or Command, click on my subject, go to my ellipse layer, center it vertically and horizontally. Boom, it's perfectly centered now, okay? How amazing is that? Perfectly centered. And I can just click on this. If I go back to my shape tools here, or if I go to my properties dialog, there we go, properties dialog, I can change this color of the background, right? So boom, you can make it, you can use your eyedropper tool here if you want. You can eyedropper it and say, I want it to be the same pink as her eye shadow, whatever it is. And then you could even give it a stroke. So if you want to go over here, you can give it a stroke. Let's say I want to give it a stroke. I want to be the stroke. I want to be this, why not that color? Yay, everyone's happy now. And I gave it a stroke, and I want this stroke to be on the outside. More options, align on the outside. Hit OK. I don't think that looks good, so let's go here. Let's give it a white stroke. Boom. And then let's just change our stroke size there. Fantastic. All right. Look how awesome this is. This is like so powerful. And then I can put that white background on there. I can take that white background off. Like this is incredibly powerful. And all of the stuff we did from a JPEG. So no matter what color you want, and then like just go to this ellipse color, double click on it, and you can make it white, you can make it black, you can make it like just, you know, have fun with it. Produce a few of these, you know, why not? Like a light green kind of looks nice. All right. And then if you want, maybe I'll make the outline, make that black. Boom. Okay. Fantastic. This looks really good. And then you don't have to just do this shape. You can do I'm going to go to my rectangle tool. Okay. We're going to just draw a rectangle. Boom. And then right down here, I like a rectangle with nice rounded edges. That looks pretty good. If you want to make sure it's centered on your subject, again, Control or Command, click on your subject, V for the move tool, align that vertically and horizontally. Boom, you got that perfectly selected. You got like a little avatar for a game or something like that. Beautiful detail all the way to the beginning, completely non-destructive. I can turn all this stuff off. I can just put it on a white background. I can do anything that I want with this. And keep in mind, let's just put it on a white background there. Keep in mind, because we did these solid color fill layers, if I wanted to, for instance, change the hair color at any time, I can do this too. It's all completely non-destructive. Just super excited about this technique and everything that we've gone over today. So now we're good. You guys can download this PSD. It's available for free on Flern.com. Follow the link right down below. It's time to save this out, right? I wanted to like you know, boom, put it on the internet. All my friends love me. Okay, I want to go ahead and make our background invisible. Okay, and let's go ahead and show you a few ways of saving this out. Let's say you wanted to save it with this, well, let's just save it without any backgrounds for now. We'll just say just that, okay? Now, the first thing you might want to do is you might want to crop your image in, right? Because in this case, I only want to save like exactly where the borders of my subject are. A good way to crop, okay? There's a few ways to crop, but a really good way to do that is I'm going to hold Control or Command and click right here on the layer mask for that border, right? That's the border. So this is like perfectly selected, just this image, right? So now that this image is selected, you can go to Image, down here to Crop. Boom, and it's going to crop perfectly to that selection that you made, okay, without any pixels on the edges. Perfect crop. And then the best, easy ways to say this, you go to File, then we're going to go to Export, okay, and we're going to go to Export As. That's the best way to save this, okay? Now, Export As, let's just shrink this up a little bit so you can see everything. Right now, because it is set to a JPEG, you're going to see it has a white background, okay? If you want a transparent background, you're going to go up here where it says JPEG and you're going to choose PNG and make sure it says transparency. And now you see we have a transparent background, okay? Perfect. Let's go ahead and export this out. We're just going to put this in my boom, 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 boom. We're going to put this in the download for this, sample images, save this out. And then now, I'm just going to go in my Finder window and find it again. All right, free tutorials, boom, let's go up to this, download. You guys, this will be included for you. Remove background.png, look at that, okay? It's perfectly saved out. It has a transparent background. You can right click on this, go to Open With, and go down to Google Chrome if you want to see what this looks like on the internet. That looks great, but we are good to go. We have it as a transparent background, and I still have my PSD. Now in this case, I'm going to hit undo a couple times. There we go, to undo my crop, because I want to keep all that information in there. I recommend, if you are going to crop your image, I recommend doing that at the very, very end. And actually, sometimes what I do, especially in a case where like I have all of this other stuff, right? Like remember, I have this archive in here. Let's just make that visible here. I have this archive. Okay, so a lot of times what I'll do is if I'm going to crop something, I'll just duplicate my layers and then make a new PSD and make that a crop, okay? And there's actually a really easy way to do this. I'm going to just shift click the layers that I actually need. So this, all these layers, I'm going to go right down here and I'm going to shift click all of these, okay? We're going to right click on these layers and I'm going to go to where it says duplicate layers, boom. And I'm going to go to where it says document and I'm going to say new. I'm just going to put them in a new document. All right, and we're just going to call this crop and hit OK. So now I'm going to control click on that, go to image and then down to crop. Boom. All right. And now this one is a totally separate PSD. And I'll just save this as crop.psd and that's going to be included in your download as well. So with this crop, it's literally just what I need. Okay, you can see because it's cropped, I've got really nice big previews of everything. I can still like make my crop bigger and put on a new background and all this stuff like that if I want to. But the reason why I like to save out, like duplicate all those layers and then save that as a different PSD that's cropped is because now with this crop, unlike Lightroom where you can get back your cropped information at any time, if I hit C for my crop tool and expand this out, okay, and hit enter, I don't have I don't have all that other stuff there, right? So you can do cropping. Like if I just use the crop tool, there's an option for delete crop pixels. But if you go to image and then down to crop, then it will actually delete your pixels. So personally, if I'm going to do like a permanent crop, I like to duplicate my layers, put it on a new document, okay, boom, and then I'll crop that. So if my client were to say, hey, take all of these images, cut them out perfectly from the background, give them a border, put a white circle behind them, make them all icons that I can use, crop them perfectly. What I would do is I would go through this process and I would make one of these for all of these layers and crop them all out, save them each as an individual PSD. That way they can open them, they can change them at any time, they can print them whatever size they want, you know, forever good. Yes, it's gonna take a little bit of time, but myself as a designer and a creator, I can feel assured that I gave them the best possible product. Man, this is so cool. I really hope you enjoyed this tutorial. If you did, give us a big like on YouTube. It really helps out with that YouTube algorithm that ranks us. Also, let me know in a comment right down below. This is like a pretty long tutorial for what we usually create here on Phlearn. And I'm super interested to know, like, did you enjoy this? Do you want more long form tutorials? Do you want to know like real professional workflow, like all this super advanced stuff? I'd really like to know what you guys think. It'd mean a lot. And don't forget, you guys can download these PSDs, and then this is a free Adobe stock image, so I'm gonna link to it on phlearn.com where you guys can download it and then try this again. That's it for me. Thanks so much. I'll Phlearn you later. Bye, everyone.